Program Director, members of CIGFARO, well, the executive membership of CIGFARO, and all you members of CIGFARO. I see some of my provincial colleagues here this morning as well. It's nice to see the mix of both the province and municipalities. It's not just local government, because I think we have similar challenges in government at all spheres. So welcome to you. It's nice to see some of you here. Thank you for this opportunity of allowing me to speak on a topic that some might think, what is this woman talking about? Why is she not talking about the MFMA? You know, so I was asked to speak on the topic of thought leadership, and that's the framework of it. So I'm not going to go through every single slide, but I'm sure the presentations will be circulated. So I will cover just some thoughts about what a thought leader is, and giving you, as the topic suggests, some strategies to become a thought leader. But let's ask the question, do we know what a thought leader is? Hands up if you do. Do you know what the definition of a thought leader is? Was this a new concept? Fairly new concept to us. It has been around for a little while, at least from the 2010s, so it's been around for about 7 to 8 years. So I'll share with you then what the definition is of a thought leader. And as it suggests there on the screen, it's an individual or a firm, right? And this is primarily used in corporate sector. So sometimes the principles we bring across to government, but they are born in corporate. Same as we're applying King 4 now to government. Where previously it wasn't, and to NGOs where previously it wasn't. So these concepts can carry through, and they become very interesting when we start to apply them wherever we are, because they're not limited to the corporate sector. But it's actually an individual or a firm that is recognized as an authority in a specialized field, and whose expertise is sought and often rewarded. That's the Oxford Dictionary definition. So does that define you? Does that define us in the local government and the government sector? Are we recognized as the authorities in local government finance? Are we? The institute is, but now as individuals, that's where we need to actually move forward. And the Wall Street Journal, this concept also came from the marketing environment, more so the marketing environment than your normal leadership environment. But regarded as thought leaders were people like Henry Ward Beecher, and that was in 1876, right? And Ralph Waldo Emerson, I think you've heard of him, right? So it goes as far back as the 1800s, this concept of thought leadership. And then you had the Wall Street in 1990 starting to talk about thought leadership, and mainly in the marketing context. But it also refers not just to an organization or an industry or anything in particular. It's also used with civic leaders sometimes. Your service clubs, your veterans organizations, civic organizations, women's clubs. You can come from anywhere. You can be a thought leader in whatever area you are in. And I think that's the important point to make. And Forbes magazine then said, an individual or firm that prospects clients, so seeks out clients, referral sources, intermediaries, and even competitors, recognized as one of the foremost authorities in selected areas of specialization, resulting in it being the go-to individual or organization. We all want CIGFARO to be the go-to organization when it comes to local government finance. Is that true? Yes, it is. We all want COGTA to be the go-to organization to help us resolve some of our problems, Is that true?
Yes.
But that can only be possible if we have thought leaders in those organizations. Are you the expert? And if you don't think you are, and if you're not confident enough, and if there are areas that you don't, or you require clarity on, do you know where to go to find it? Because you have to be the thought leader on financial management in your municipality. Yes, the MFMA doesn't give CFO specific functions. It's all accounting officers and then it gets delegated to yourselves, right? So you don't feel that important. But you are the expert. You have to be the thought leader in local government finance in your municipality. You have to be the thought leader in government finance in your organization. You have to be the industry expert. We have to be the industry experts. We cannot be found to be floundering at any point in time. Because if we flounder, then there are other people like the AG sitting out there who will catch us out. And I think that really is what the concept is all about. Of course, it was overused. Forbes regarded it as one of those overused terminologies and so on. And then, of course, they say you have a title and then you have nothing to back up the title. So you are Joey Krishanan is the Chief Director Municipal Finance in Cogta, but don't talk to her about municipal finance. She knows nothing. It's just a title. And that's not what we want to be remembered for. We want to be remembered for, this was a person that was a member of CIGFARO and the CFO of a municipality, and they actually created leadership in the sector. And that's where we want to go. So yeah, in 2013 it was the most annoying business slang. And we're only hearing about it in 2018. Okay? So it's a concept, the real concept that's been, I don't think Emmanuel thought that I would actually come with something researched on this. We thought I'm just going to come here and just waffle on about, leadership and all of that. But it's actually a very documented concept. So from 2013 to 2015, what does it take to become a thought leader? Of course, to be a thought leader, you have to distinguish yourself. And I say to my staff, and Pumi will bear me out, because she's here, but I say to my staff, you are the expert. I may be the chief director, okay? But you are dealing with internal audit matters. You are the expert on internal audit matters. You are the expert on AFS matters. You are the expert on GRAP. I don't expect to have all the GRAP standards in my head, all 100 and some odd of them. Right? But you are the expert. So you don't have to know everything, but you need to know what it's about, how to apply it, and where to find it. That's very, very important. When I did my studies in my master's, that's what one of our lecturers told us. He says, don't try and stuff everything into the small brain of ours. Right? Know where to find it. That's more important. And as soon as you find it, apply your mind to it. That's important. So what are the common traits of these thought leaders that one might find? Of course, you have to have expertise in your particular niche. If you're not an expert, you can't be a thought leader, right? So that's the first thing. And then you have to have ongoing involvement in or awareness of that niche. So you may be a CFO, you may be working at Umhlanga municipality, and you may be involved with what's happening in the Umhlanga area and financing there and your tariffs and everything else. But what's happening broadly? What are the macro issues affecting our sector? If we don't know or understand or appreciate some of these macro issues, then we can't actually deal with them. And then we see them as a surprise and they eventually catch us out. So for example, MSCOA, right? MSCOA, we dealt with it more as a basis of just institutionalizing something new. We didn't really take a step back and say, what exactly is MSCOA, right? Yes, it's just a chart of accounts to us as finance people. But actually it required a whole new leadership to come forward for us to change business processes within our organization to respond to it. And sadly, I don't think that when we started off on this path, we recognized that. Because along the way, we stumbled and we fell and we picked ourselves up and we dusted ourselves off and we continued, and guess what? We stumbled again. Now, a thought leader must look at the macro perspective, must look at the future, must envision what the impact of that is. Because here we are now sitting at the end of the financial year when we're first going to be auditing the chart, and we're saying, AG, please don't audit us fully on MSCOA. So let's just audit only the IT governance and controls and migration processes. Let's not do a full-scale MSCOA audit, because if you do, you will find that that leadership and that visionary approach we didn't use. So guys, we have time now to apply ourselves to that. Have a clearly identified point of view. Right? Sometimes we raise problems, and we all raise problems, and we think that's a point of view. A problem is not a point of view. A problem is simply that, a problem. A point of view is, here's a problem and I think we need to deal with it in a particular manner. There might be other ways of dealing with it, but this is my view. And it must be credible, and it must be backed by something. Right? And then you've got to have credibility. If you don't have credibility as a thought leader, nobody is going to take you seriously. Not your counsels, not your accounting officer firstly, right? So they'll undermine everything you try to do. Not your council, exco, not your mayor, not your council. And then how do you actually manage money then? How do you manage the finances in your municipality if you have no credibility? It's absolutely key, guys. That credibility and integrity is non-negotiable, especially when you're working with finance, especially when you're talking about consequence management. You're the guys they will go after first. And they will say, you should have known better. And then, of course, to be a thought leader means that you should actually have a following. You should have a following. At a micro level, our following must be our senior management team. They must listen to what it is we say. They must follow what it is we say about finances in our municipality. It's not about just getting input from technical and input from community services and input from corporate and plonking a budget together. It's not about that. It's about you saying, strategic, as far as strategic financial management goes, our IDP says these are our priorities, but we're spending more money on other things than on our core business. It's about you saying that we have analyzed the figures and this is what we are seeing. These are the trends, these are the findings. Not just month to month, okay, yes, we have our collection rate is so much and you know, we've spent so much. That's boring stuff. Nobody wants to listen to you say that. They want you to analyze financial data, and they want you to be able, you to be able to give them a different picture. And that means we actually have to step out of the nuts and bolts, take a step back, look at finances more strategically, and be able to guide these processes in our municipality. So there's a couple of examples that I've highlighted, and I won't read them through, but it talks about what this particular person, Kimberly Bryant, who's the founder of Black Girls Code, and you wonder why I come to a local government seminar and talk about the founder of the Black Girls Code. Right? It's because the idea of thought leadership can be applied wherever you are. So read about her example. I won't read it for you. But one of her distinguishing features, and she was, of course, an engineer, electrical engineer, right? And you would think Black Girls Code, electrical engineer, does not make sense, right? But here she was. She picked up on an issue and she took it forward. it's like picking up a cause, right? And all I want to say to you is, let's please pick up the cause of local government finance. Let's pick up the cause of our sector and our industry and make it the best that there is. If not in your little municipality in KwaZulu-Natal at the very least. And we do, I mean, with Krish sitting for years on Info's board, KZN is always at the forefront of many, many things. We give our AG's office probably the most trouble as well, you know, because we pick up issues, we raise issues. So that's what it's all about. Let's keep doing that. There's another example in the IT context of a guy called Neil Patel. I don't know if you've heard of him, but that's his story. He does these bloggings and newsletters and podcasts and talks and social media presence and all of that, right? So he's renowned for that. Now CIGFARO's got web pages, and you all have Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all of that, right? And that is part of who you actually are. So if you're talking rubbish on Facebook, guys, right, be careful. Be careful, right? It's not what thought leaders do. It's using these platforms, right, to further your cause, right, and to present yourself in a manner that says, I am a thought leader. So yeah, decide what you want to use Facebook for. I use it to keep in touch with family, that's all, and friends, that's all. It is not where I post work things and other things and so on. Try not to mix these things. Right? So C-level executives, you are C-level executives, most of you, right? You know what that means? You're either a CEO or a COO or a CFO. That's what C-level executives are, the highest in the organization. So what do you need to do? You need to actually have focus. How to leverage thought leadership effectively. You have to share your expertise. You have to participate in current conversations in your industry. That's important. If you're not doing that, you're actually disadvantaging yourself because you fall behind on what's actually happening. What is current, what is on the go. And then whether you're the CEO, CFO, CTO, or you maintain another highly visible role, you should be a central component of, it should be a central component of your branding strategy. When you walk into a council meeting, the councillors must actually whip their heads back and say, here comes the CFO, oh dear, you know, or here comes the CFO, great, they're going to help us with the problem. That's the feeling they must get about you if you're a thought leader. And I've said, the title alone doesn't lend credibility. You have to work at it. You have to work at it. You have to present yourself in a manner that makes you the thought leader. Right? And then why it matters, of course it matters to all of these stakeholders. And there was a study by Weber Shandwick among social CEOs. And it found that 78% believe that these traits and these areas have a positive impact on the company's reputation. So remember, what you do impacts on the reputation of your municipality at all times. And sometimes we don't see ourselves like that. We go to work, we get the job done, we do AFSs, we go home totally exhausted, and that's just it. Right? And we respond to council and respond to ratepayers and everybody else, and that's all we do. But it impacts on the reputation of the municipality, the way you handle all of these things. Right? And that's important. And then it's also a good way of sharing news and information about what is going on. So if you're a thought leader, you would take every opportunity to share information and news about what is happening in your space. And then it makes a company a more attractive place to work in and enhances credibility in the market. Now, how attractive is the job of CFO today in local government? Hands up everybody who thinks it's very attractive. Nobody. I'm actually seeing heads shaking, right? Hands up anybody who thinks that it's reasonably attractive. Not even reasonably attractive. Hands up anybody who thinks that it's a no-go area at this point in time. I'll take the laughs as a hands up. Yeah. And I see a few hands up. It doesn't say much about our sector. It does not say much about our sector. And colleagues, I know it's hard. I know we are sometimes afraid of politicians. But guess what? I've stood up and told my MEC no on a few things. I'm sure some of you have. Right? It's about giving a consistent message and about being technically astute. Because, trust me, even if they don't take your advice, right, when the royal S hits the fan, you're the guy they will come looking for. And you will find a solution. You will find a solution because you know how to fix it. Right? So that's important. And then, of course, there's also this online presence that is spoken about. So how do you make it work for yourself? You have to start by at least asking yourself some questions, right? So what matters most to me? I'll tell you what matters most to me, seeing that I'm in municipal finance in government. What matters most to me is that the money that we spend actually gets spent on those who truly need it. That's what matters most to me. And because that matters most to me, then I want to make sure that we are clean in our finances. So what is your personal brand then? Are you seen as that person who is unshakable, unmovable, and clean? That's the issue about your credibility. Right? What do I want to have as a personal brand? Do I want to be the expert? Do I want to be seen as credible? Do I want to be most knowledgeable about a particular area? Even if it's one discipline in finance. If it's SEM, it's SEM. Right? If it's audit, it's audit. If it's accounting standards and accounting, it's accounting standards and accounting. Is that what I want to be? Right? And then, what am I comfortable sharing online? Also, this is using the social media platforms and so on. What am I comfortable sharing online? I will never swear on Facebook. Right? I see a lot of people, WTF. It's an insight into your psyche, right? So that's important. What am I known for already? What do people know me for? You know what my children know me for? I used to take them around the province with me when I traveled as a DFA tribunal registrar. We used to have community meetings and development applications, and I used to always be talking at these meetings and so on. So one day my 3-year-old, my son who's now 24, was 3-year-old then, and my daughter was 9, she's now 30. And somebody asked them, what does your mother do? And they answered, my mother talks. So here I am doing what I do best. I talk. Okay? What am I good at? What kind of strategy would support my 5 to 10-year plan? Okay, so I'm nearing retirement, okay? Believe it or not. And what is my strategy for the next 5 to 10 years? Am I going to just fade into oblivion and nobody sees or hears about me because, you know what, I'm on my way out, I don't care anymore? Is that what I want to do? Right? Or do I want to leave a name for myself in my industry? Or do I want to use my industry as a stepping stone to my, maybe some annuity income into the future? What is it you want to do in the next 5 years? Think about it. Think about it. See yourself 5 years from now. Look at yourself through the eyes of your children. It is the scariest thought ever. Do that. And then what makes me different from other people in my field? If you ask me what makes me different, I'll tell you it's the fact that I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I will tell whoever it is exactly the same message. Right? So you decide, what is it that makes you different? I think I've talked about what you need to do to make it work for you in terms of an industry niche, the solution. Show how your service, right, or your product offering or solution can gain you traction in the industry. Right? You have solutions. You are offering a service. Show how that sets you apart within the sector. Right? And then, of course, running a municipality is like running any business. And I keep saying to people, if we had to run our municipalities as if we were running a business, we would do a hell of a lot of things differently. Am I right? Yes. If you ran your municipality the way you ran your household monies, you would do a lot of things differently, right? Yes. You would. So think about that. That's what we do. So let's not lose focus on that. There's 10 golden rules to being a thought leader. The first one is that you don't sell anything except ideas. So this is about a leadership presentation. And thought leadership and discussion is about not selling anything but ideas. That's why it's called thought leadership. You have the idea. How many of you have had an idea to do something and then you just don't do it because you think, you know what, there's too many walls out there. There's too many barriers out there. So I'm just not, it's too hard. Counselors are scary people. I'm just not going to do it. How many of you have been through those motions? I know I have. You have to go through it, right? But you have to be able to sell your idea. You give it away. Because that's what you want. You want that following. Give it away. Knowledge is as easy as typing something up on Google. So why do we want to hide anything? Why do we want to hide anything? I mean, if I say to Cheryl, what's going on at King Petwayo? You know, can I have your, what's happening in the municipality and your performance? And Cheryl says, oh, no, I don't want to tell you all of this. I'll go pull out an annual report, man, and I'll know. Right? Give it away. Knowledge is about sharing. When you're a thought leader, you share freely. You don't keep things closed. You don't keep things closed. You share it, you share it. Not unless you're planning to make some money off it as an entrepreneur. But you give it away, at least in our sector. Have a unique perspective. Have a unique perspective. One of the crazy ideas I have is that I will tell the administration and the political leadership exactly the same message. Exactly the same message. I won't dance around if I'm talking to politicians about political issues, or dance around if I'm talking to administrators about administration issues. I will dance all the way through, whoever it is. Right? So, but have a unique perspective and focus on one thing at a time. That goes against what I say normally, right? Because normally I say to you guys, AFS is not an event. Budget is not an event, right? True, it is not an event. But when that hits you, focus. Focus on that one thing that is the most important at that point in time. You have to be able to filter out the white noise. You have to be able to filter out the rest of it. And then address a specific audience. If you are a thought leader in a particular field, it's no use going to talk about municipal finance to a bunch of labor people. Unless, of course, you have a specific objective with labor, then you would do that. But you have a target audience. So understand who your audience is and what messages you are giving. And then get involved. Get involved. Don't go to work and sit in your office and read, and deal with emails. Get involved. Get your hands dirty, right? I hope that my staff see me, my staff don't see me as getting involved in anything because I'm never in office half the time, but I'm actually involved in municipal finance, thankfully. But do get involved. Admit what you don't know. It is the greatest weakness to try and talk nonsense about something you don't know. Don't patch. Do not patch. If you don't know, I don't know, I will find out. And then you learn. And then you don't ad-lib, please, don't ad-lib at any point. And then make your audience feel smarter. So hopefully you'll go away feeling smarter. Most of you are already smarter than I am. So that's okay. Hire thought leaders. Hire people who think. You know, one of the hardest things is to appoint someone who's got the qualification, who might even have experience, but who can't think analytically. Because then what are you going to do? You're going to hold their hand all the way. And it's tiring. It's tiring and it's draining to do that. You want people to be thought leaders. You want them to think for themselves. You want them to challenge you. And when they challenge you, appreciate it. Love it. Enjoy it. Because then only you learn. And trust me, you learn not only about the subject, you learn about people. And then lastly, market thought leadership like a product. So I'm selling here today. I'm selling it to you. Right? So you need to go back to your municipalities and then you will sell it to your councils and everybody in a subtle manner, as if you are the thought leader. So establishing yourself, start by asking what matters most to me, why do I want to have a personal brand, what am I comfortable sharing online, what am I already known for, what am I good at, what kind of strategy would support my 5-year plan, what makes me different from other people in my field, what makes me different from other people in my field. And once you've started to identify who you are and what your goals are, you can create a kind of brand that is true to who you actually are. That's important. It's all about psychology, guys. It's all about psychology. And then, of course, when you establish yourself, you're not going to sell yourself if you don't speak up. It's not about wearing a short dress and stockings anymore. Because when you open your mouth, guys, that's it. Right? So that's important. And then get published as often as you can. How many times have you seen articles by some of our colleagues that have been recognized and awarded this morning? In the info magazines, from way back. I'm in the sector now for 20 years. From way back, you will see the same people writing articles. You might have an idea. Give a perspective, your perspective on something to the CIGFARO magazine. Right, get published. Everybody has a view. Okay, a view is different from an opinion, okay? So a view is backed by something. An opinion there's no accountability behind opinion. So let's have a view and not an opinion. And then clarify your area of expertise and stick to it. If you are seen to be an expert in auditing, that's what I am. At my core, I'm an auditor. You may have to deal with other things, but in those specific areas, you will rise above everybody else. Step back from your business agenda. So, getting wrapped up in the nuts and bolts, day-to-day things, take a step back every now and again. Right? Look at yourself as if you were somebody else looking in. And look at the work in the same way. Look at the municipality in the same way. Keep learning about your industry. I think we've spoken about that. And the only reason I'm still in government, because as I always say, there is never a dull moment in local government. We agree? Yes. There is never a dull moment in local government. So I thoroughly enjoy it. And then listen to others. Other people have very important things to say. They may not say it in the language that you might use, but listen to the messages that you are getting. And that's sort of some of the things that you need to do to establish yourself. And then how do you make people listen? People will only listen if you are giving them a coherent, clear, credible, and believable story. Okay? If you're coming here and you're talking nonsense, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to you. So those are some of the things that you can do to be heard. Don't be afraid to have an opinion, all right? But don't stop at, oh, I think. Say, I think this and why. This is why I think this. Okay? So that's why I said an opinion does not necessarily have accountability. Support your ideas with research. Support your ideas with research. Research has been done on just about any topic under the sun, somewhere in the world. And you will find something to back up your view. You will always find something to back up your view. So this is some programs that they have on how to institutionalize thought leadership. So companies make money on this kind of thing. So this is called the Buffalo model for thought leadership. And these are the kind of tools that you would use in this Buffalo model. The Buffalo model is all about an online presence and using the electronic environment. And there's things like having a white paper, writing articles, doing webinars, having live events, ebooks, social media, blog posts, podcasts, videos, press releases, case studies, slideshows. So it's telling you how to present things as a thought leader. So that's what that model is about. But the one that particularly I like is called the 3Q model. Right? And it's referenced from the World Economic Forum, which found that no less than 47% of critical job roles could be affected by acquisition of deepening automation, social technologies, and artificial intelligence. Right? And there was a worldwide focus on big data and talent analytics and value in organizations. And relying less on physical assets and more on intellectual horsepower. And we all heard about intellectual capital, right? So that's what we're talking about here, that intellectual capital. And it still has to be the #1 winner for success in any industry, intellectual capital. Right? The rest of the stuff is replaceable, easily replaceable. Intellectual capital cannot be easily replaced. Why? It takes hard work to get that qualification. It takes a long time to get experience. It takes a long time to make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. Because only in making mistakes and learning from your mistakes do you actually gain experience. That's real experience. Experience is not about the number of years you spent in a job. You could have 10 years experience, 1 year doing the same thing 10 times. Or you can have 10 years experience really growing in a wide range of areas. Right? So that's important. And then it was also explained by the Brandon Hall Group that 80% of an organization's performance is around the quality of leadership. So when my MEC wanted to fire me because of regression in audit, by the way, we didn't get any performance instead. And you know the paid progression, the notch progression, was withheld for us in COGTA. Right? Mine was withheld specifically on the basis that the audit outcomes regressed. Can you believe that? You don't believe me. It's true. It's true. And I said, but there's 54 accounting officers, and there's 54 CFOs, and there's 54 SEM managers. You're withholding my pay progression? And I have zero influence over any of this? Anyway, she had a change of heart, so we eventually got our pay progressions. But that's the point. The point is that the quality of your leadership is key. When we talk, why does the AG continuously raise leadership and governance issues in the audit outcome? Because I've said in many a platform, when my MEC asked me the question, what is the problem? How do we fix this? I said, one solution, MEC. Pin accountability where it should be. Politicians must account for being politicians. Administrators must account for being administrators. Accounting officers are the gatekeepers of the law, and they must be held to account. Right? Politicians must be held to account to the public, and they are spending public money, so they must still account to the public. That's a simple answer. Pin accountability where it should sit. Okay? And then some of the gaps are there because there are too few thought leaders ready to execute on business goals. Too few thought leaders ready to execute on business goals. There was a chat on Morning Live, I think it was yesterday morning. They had a professor, they had somebody from the National Planning Commission. They were talking about this amazing national development plan that we have and so on. And people were then asking, but if we have such an amazing plan, why is South Africa in the state that it is? But from normal, forget South Africa's, forget our national development plan. Strategic planning generally fails in execution. IDPs fail in execution. That is the problem. Right? So it's how do we actually operationalize these things? And strategic planning in municipalities has become, and in government, has become a mechanical process. It's about APPs, SDBIPs, and targets. So we don't think anymore. We don't think anymore. We don't think beyond a target. And then we spend the whole year chasing a target. What do I say to my staff? I say, forget the targets. Step back. We are here to do municipal finance. These are the areas we need to focus on. Let's get on and do it. And guess what? The targets will meet themselves. Do what you have to do and the targets will meet themselves. Right? So that is a perspective that perhaps you can take. So then this is the 3Q model. It's about the passion quotient, the feeling that you have for this. It's about the unique quotient, your thinking. How unique are you in your thinking? And it's about the bold quotient, your behavior. How bold are you? If there's one slide you take away from this presentation, let this be it. I have been accused of being passionate about local government. I am. It runs in my blood. I love it. Right? Good passion quotient. Right? Unique quotient, think. You must be able to find solutions. You must be the go-to person. That's your thinking quotient. And then the bold quotient, your behavior. Stand up. Do what you have to do. Right? And get things done. That's the important thing. Get things done. So that's the 3Q model. And these are some of the quotes around that. So passion quotient is about your insatiable curiosity. You're constantly curious. I'm never bored. Mind you, I learn every single day something in our sector, not just, anything arbitrary, but even in our sector, we learn something every single day. So sometimes you get these stupid circulars where we tell you something, it's because we've found something, we've researched it, we've thought about it, we've said, look, this is how we need to deal with it. And Susan Scott, the author of Fierce Conversation, says, passion is not necessarily something we have. It is something we choose. We all have local government. We need to choose it. We need to choose it. We need to want to be here, despite everything else. We need to want to be here, and we need to want to make a difference. Unique quotient, thought leaders view things differently. They challenge the status quo. Challenge the status quo. Simple, right? This was said by somebody unknown. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. They have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human. As the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. So think about that. Take that away. And then thought leaders are fearless. Right? Jeffrey Immelt from General Electric said, I'm responsible for this company. I stand behind the results. You are responsible for your municipalities. Do you stand behind those results? Do you stand behind a set of financial statements of a municipality that is not a going concern? Do you stand behind the financial results of a municipality that is not viable? You can't. We can't, right? So we need to arrest it. There's some things that we need to do. So my concluding comment from Warren Buffett, he says, it takes 20 years to build a reputation, but just 5 minutes to destroy one. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. So that is my yakking on about thought leadership. I hope that I have given you something to think about at the very least, and that you have found it interesting. And again, Emmanuel and the team, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Chief Director. Thank you so much.